We all have our opinions ready whenever Jagex releases or announces a new piece of content. But what actually is a good piece of content? Is that content that applies to you, or can it also be something that you will never interact with but could be amazing for the game? In this video we're going to explore that question, so let's talk about it. Yo, what's going on guys? My name is Chevalric and today I want to be talking about the question, what is actually good content? And what makes an update something that makes you go, yeah, you know what, actually they did a great job with this. I definitely want to hear from you in the comment section down below on this, because this video will be more so me talking about like ideas and concepts and kind of trying to throw out as many point of views as possible for us to have a discussion in the comment section down below. But because I would really appreciate you joining in, and obviously I'll be giving my opinion as well. But yeah, what makes something a good piece of content to you? Is that the reward? Is that something that even if it doesn't apply to you, you can still appreciate? Or does it have to be something that is just fully catered to you and that makes it good content and everything else is trash? I definitely want to hear from you in the comment section down below. Also leave a like on the video whilst you're scrolling down because I appreciate it. And click the button as well that says subscribe because that helps me out to get to 5,000 by the end of the year. And I'm live on Twitch every single day at 5 PM. But yeah, let's just get into it. So the main thing that I kind of just want to kick off with is the whole idea that I see everywhere whenever a new update is. It doesn't apply to me, so it's bad. I PVM, so every skilling update, I don't care for bad updates, I just want PVM update. Oh, it's a PVM update again, I don't care for it, I just skill, right? Oh, it's a bad update now. I think that is really unfair, and I think that's a very short-sighted way of looking at a piece of content. I feel like even if a piece of content doesn't apply to me, let's say a clan update. I don't really care about clans. I do own my own clan, but I don't really do anything with it. It's just not for me, right? I'm more so of a solo player and maybe a duo player, but that is it at most. I don't care about big clan events or whatever. If a clan update comes and it overhauls the entire clan system, and that's everything that clans have been wanting for the last few years, I can still consider it as a good update, even if it doesn't apply to me. And I feel like a lot of people just don't look at it this way, and that's kind of why I wanted to start with it, because I see it on all socials. I would only say that I would see it on Reddit, but that's kind of unfair to Reddit because it's on Twitter, the YouTube comment section, Twitch chats, literally everywhere. Oh, I have 99 woodcutting. Why should I care about the woodcutters grow? Because, you know, I don't care that the backend code has changed, or I don't care that there's a new Imkando hatchet, or that the XP rates have been flipped around and they're now better and it's easier to make money with it, yada yada yada. I just like the PVM. That doesn't make it a bad update necessarily. Let's say it was completely broken and all the XP rates were nerfed and, you know, nothing really worked about it and it didn't do anything to really change something, then I think that would be a bad update, right? But I think we need to kind of jump deeper into it than just, oh, it doesn't apply to me, so it's a bad update. Because I feel like a bad update or a good update can change even when it comes to rewards. If something is grindy and maybe not even fun to do, but has a really good reward, does that make it a good update? Or the other way around, when it's a lot of fun, but the rewards aren't really there. And that really makes me think about minigames. Like, no one really does minigames besides the ones that you need to do for trimmed comp. And still those are difficult to really find proper groups for because people play more so for efficiency or for something that is a good reward. Even pest control is no longer fun to do because, well, Void isn't the best in slot anymore, so why would I be doing pest control? And I used to love doing minigames back in the day, and I think with me there are many others that love doing them, but you just don't do them anymore because the rewards are not there. And even if it's the most fun in the world, they will not touch it. So I would almost guaranteed say that rewards are really important. But then going back to the idea of an update, right? Let's say they release a piece of content where you need to click every second for every interaction that you need to do, and that's the only way to do this new piece of content, and that's literally all you do. Just spam click until you get whatever reward it is, and it takes a couple of hours to get, and it's just you clicking. But the reward is like the best in slot mage item. Would people consider it as a good update because the reward is good? I think there's a good group that would literally say, oh yeah, that's a great update because look, we got all this new magic gear now that is really powerful and really fun to use and makes PVM good. So in a way, it's a good PVM update. But where there's some truth to it, it makes the reward a good update. It doesn't make the actual content good update. And that is something that I think is really important to look at as well. Is something fun to do or is something not fun to do, and how is the reward? Because I feel like the main thing, there should just be a balance. Preferably the update should be fun and it should have a good reward. Or even if it's fun and the reward is just slightly less overpowered. Like, for example, a lot of these fort buildings, right? Mainly, like, for example, the cooking one. I don't really care for the cooking building. But then again, I don't mind building the fort, and I like seeing my buildings expand, and I do like doing the quests and stuff. So for me, it's just one of those things like, oh yeah, it's quite fun for me to do everything around it, but I don't really care for the reward. But the reward is like just useful enough that I would do something with it, if that makes any sense, compared to the prayer one, which I mean, I might use for 120 prayer, but I actually don't know what the meta is for that. But that's really besides the point. But when it comes to like something that just isn't fun at all and is just really, really good to do, or you need it for something else, it does. Like, for example, charming moths. You need it for the yak tree stick because you need it for comp, and I think going for comp overall is a fun grind and a lot of fun to do, but there are just certain requirements that are just not fun at all and have a good reward, which at the end of the day would be the completion escape, and just skipping over what you actually get from it. And it is a difficult balance. I don't think everything can be fun in the game, right? I do think that certain things will just be grindy, and I think it's just something that is just a part of RuneScape. However, I do see that RuneScape does respect your time a little bit more than, for example, old school RuneScape. And that's not me flaming old school RuneScape, right? That's just the essence of the game. Old school RuneScape is a lot more grindy than RuneScape 3 for many, many reasons. XP rates, MTX, etc., right? We don't have to go into those details, but that brings us onto the topic of, should a reward or should a piece of content that is RNG be guaranteed after a while? Because that's a discussion I see with the Mkendo Hatchet, which does have battle luck mitigation, but people still put in like 10 to 15 hours to complete it. And that also brings us to the other discussion that kind of ties into it, is should it be completable at day one because we have jobs, or should it just be something that you do for a couple of days and give it a little bit more longevity because it's a little bit rare? And I think that is a very difficult thing, right? Because I feel like the same people that say about the fort, oh, there's a new building, I built it on day one, I've done the quest on day one, now I'm done with it, and now I have nothing to do in the game, are the same people that complain about, you know, oh, the Mkendo Hatchet takes too long to grind because I cannot do it on day one. And I personally think that completing a piece of content on day one shouldn't always be the case. I don't think it necessarily is a bad thing that something is completable on day one. Like, I think it would make no sense if it takes like a week to build the fort buildings, like for example how it takes it with Anachronia, where you need to send out your workers and make them do the work, right? I don't think that is good content. However, I do think that building a building, it takes about like 30 minutes for, I think, from building it from scratch or something. I think that is fine, and obviously they usually release it with a quest, or you need to do like the Slayer challenge or whatever. And I'm more so looking at it from a completionist point of view in a way, but still, like, I think that is good that you can complete it pretty much on day one. But something like the Hatchet that's 10-15 hours to complete, I don't think that's bad, especially if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, right? And I'm just using the Woodcutter's Grove as an example because it's the most recent update, and I think it's actually just something that has a lot of these aspects going for it. It has something RNG, it's not like the most fun thing, but the reward is actually pretty good. And overall, I do think that the update has been really good for the game, what it did on the back end of things, but maybe at face value, especially if you have 99 woodcutting, it's not that great, right? But with the Hatchet, I do think that you also need to look at it in the bigger picture of things. We, as in the players that already have 99 woodcutting, already have the Crystal Hatchet, that just want the next upgrade, whether that's for Croesus, whether that's for your tool belt, for trim completionist, whatever it is, right? I do feel like for us, it feels more like a grind than it would be for someone who would be, you know, naturally playing the game. Because at some point, someone would probably build that building at whatever woodcutting and construction level you need, and then passively gather the Mkendo Hatchet, and then maybe at level like 95 or something, or 94 if they're level 90 for example, they will be able to get it and do their last few levels with this best in slot new Hatchet, and then be using it everywhere else in the game whenever they need to do some woodcutting, or whenever they go to Croesus and do the woodcutter role, right? And I think that is probably how Jagex looks at it. Is sure, they have people that grind it out on day one, but I don't think that is actually the idea behind the piece of content. And even so, with instant gratification, doesn't that really take away from achievements in RuneScape? Because to be honest, on the first day, I actually was quite, you know, impressed, or even on day 2 with people that had the Candle Hatchet. And still now I see people with Candle Hatchet a week later and think, damn, they really grinded for that one. It's been a week, but still you don't see them everywhere when you go woodcutting, right? Or maybe that's because everyone who has Team Candle Hatchet stopped woodcutting. But I think that goes for more things in RuneScape. I think certain things should not take you too long, like for example building those fort buildings, or you know, having to do a quest that takes like a week's amount of time. But still, I do think that there should be some grindiness in certain things, even if the reward isn't that amazing, because it's a personal achievement, right? And achievements in RuneScape really do matter. And I think a good piece of content is something that has longevity, will be relevant for a longer amount of time, even if it has a little bit of a niche relevance, right? Like a certain passive buff or something that you really don't need to get, but it's just kind of nice to have, like certain archaeology relics, for example. I think that makes it a good piece of content when the relevance is still there a couple years later, and the relevance isn't just held there because it is a completion escape requirement, or it is a trim completion escape requirement, or you need it for something else, right? Like, I think a good piece of content should have a little bit of fun, but also should have a little bit of grindiness, because you need to feel that sense of achievement, but also needs to have a decent reward. It's kind of a accumulation of all the aspects we really talked about, adding them together and hoping for the best, really. And I can imagine that that's not the easiest thing to do, and I'm really happy I'm not in that position. But yeah, let me know in the comment section down below, do you agree with me? What do you think is a good piece of content? And leave a like on the video, it's highly appreciated. And check out one of the videos that you see on screen right now. My name's Chevalric, and I'll see you guys in my next video.